Hi, I am back. This is Dr. LaShonda Shaw, and I'm going to now talk about the next portion of my book, Scar Revision. Like I talked about before, it's the ebook, it's free, just trying to get, the word out to as many, women, especially young women that I can. So last time we talked about just the overall, how we got to the actual scar revision surgery. So now I'm gonna go back a little bit. So the next chapter says starting at the beginning. And actually where this started at Hampton University, where I attended undergrad. But let's go a little further back than that. So I grew up in a very, very sheltered family, right? I know like some people say, they were sheltered. I was really sheltered. Now, I didn't have my father, but I had my uncles and I had my grandfather. My mom. I had so many people, my aunts, that were so protective, over me. And protection is good because it kept me out of a lot of things. But at the same time, you have to be exposed to things, right? Because at one point you're going to leave home and it's some things that you have to know. And that being said, because I was so sheltered, I didn't really have a whole lot of friends. So, like the social things, like I went to E. Smith High School, the social things that, everyone was doing, like the proms and all those things like that. I didn't do any of those things, right? I literally had my first date like the summertime before I went to Hampton. Okay. And no, I'm not saying I'm goody two shoes or perfect or anything like that, but I'm just kind of telling you, what led up to this. So because of that, I was not aware of a lot of things, right? So I'm off at Hampton University, and while I'm there, still kind of the same setup. Everyone said, oh, you're so sheltered, you're gonna go to Hampton, and you're gonna go wild. But actually, what happened was I went to Hampton, and I just went to school. We had socials and things like that. I started like a little modeling agency on the campus, and it was called like LS Models, like LaShonda Shaw Models. So I did that my first year or two there. Some people at Hampton might have known that. If you were from the 99 to 2003, you might have seen some of them. And we would put on fashion shows and things like that. So that was great, right? And even that kind of happened because when I was younger, I wanted to model, and I'll never forget, I went down to Atlanta to this modeling convention, and I couldn't have been more than like 15, 16. And when I went there, I never forget, the guy says, only the smallest will make it. And when I think back on that, you don't tell no child nothing like that. So I had spent so much time like trying to lose weight and trying to be the smallest I could that even at Smith, some of my teachers were like, you okay? Because I was losing weight. I never forget, my Uncle Jimmy said to me, so you never put your faith, you never put what you're going to be in someone else's hands. Hence, that's why I started like LS Models Agency on the campus of Hampton, because I said, now I'm going to do it my way. Okay. Now, all that being said, now I'm at Hampton. And like I said, I am not really social at Hampton. And see, the thing is, for people in Fayetteville and people at Hampton, everybody think, oh, she's stuck up and all these things. And what they don't know is because I was so sheltered, I wasn't that social, right? So I was quiet a lot. That's how I grew up. I was by myself a lot. So it didn't have anything to do with that. So anyway, I'm at Hampton, and like I said, I'm not social, not really doing too much. And I would just come home. I was a little bit more comfortable with. I just come home every weekend. Like literally in my freshman year, I came home like every weekend. And then I started to get a little accustomed to it. So one of my last years at Hampton, I meet someone, and I met this person in Fayetteville. And I think back on it, there was a lot of, nice guys at Hampton, but for some reason, like I said, I wouldn't give them the time, and I was just quiet, right? Hindsight. So anyways, I come home and I meet this gentleman. And because, like I said, I was not exposed, it was just things that I didn't recognize. It was things that I didn't see. See, I didn't know that, like, at Hampton, we have, I don't know if they still have it now, but we had a 24-hour study room, right? So this is where like the library, once the library closed, they had these little study rooms around the library that was 24 hours. You can go in there, do projects and stuff like that. And as I went one time to do a project, with my group, and I'm talking to this gentleman on the phone, and he said to me, he said, "Are you sure you going to the study hall? I'm young, don't know no better." I'm like, "Oh, he's concerned. Oh, that's cute. That's cute." It won't cute, I realize, right? Or if I went to Walmart, right, up at Hampton, "You sure you're going to Walmart?" Yeah, I thought the same thing. "Oh, he's concerned." See, that's the thing you have to look out for. When someone always wants to know where you're at and checking on you, like sometimes, your mom, your dad might check on you, but when someone is like overly trying to check on you, like your time, that's a red flag. That is a red flag. And I did not know it. Didn't know it then. Another thing is love bombing. I don't know if anyone ever heard this word before, but love bombing is this, right? It is when you meet someone, okay? And let me go back a little bit. My mom used to always tell me, "LaShonda, one thing you do, you start out like you can hold out." Meaning like whoever you are on day one, you make sure you this way 2 years, 3 years. And I pride myself, and I am who I am. Like I'm not changing up. I'm not doing any of those things. And I would always tell, gentlemen that, right? But the love bombing always happens. It's when they, showering you with gifts and, "Oh, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread," right? And that happens usually for about 3-4 months, but it's not them, right? So that's going to go away. But see, that's part of the control, because now you saw these sweet and nice things, right? So now you're chasing that person that you thought you met three months ago, but that was never them. See, that's the control tactic, because see, now you're in it. Now you're in it. So sounds cute, but when if you're dating someone or you start talking to someone and they start to like rush to be with you and they're doing all of those things, just take a step back, because some of these things are not cute. Some of these things are not because they're concerned with you. Those are red flags too. It seems cute when you're younger. You get older, I'm sure not the only one, women know this. Those are signs. Like, so now if I meet someone, right, and they start off heavy, I don't do this, because most of the time, like what I did, I went further because I wasn't used to this, right? Like I said, I wasn't sociable, so I wasn't used to any of this thing. So I'm so excited about it, right? So instead of, going back and saying, "No, something ain't right with this," I went further. So just remember that, like if you're in a relationship or someone you're trying to talk to, look, ain't nothing perfect, ain't nothing, all the time. But when someone initially is just heavy, know that a lot of times they can't hold true to that. And a lot of times you might see that shift in the next 3 months. So just watch it. I'm not saying all the time, but just be aware of that. So in that beginning, when you are meeting someone, and like I said, you're the best thing since sliced bread, just sit there with it, right? Sit there with it, like in your mind, physically, like just do this. Don't do this, because see, if you do that, by 3 months, you're in it. If you just do this and you watch it, and if in that 3rd or 4th month things change, then you knew, right? And now you're not, you're not in it, right? So that's where this really started for me, from the beginning of this. And I don't want to, tell too much about it or anything like that, because I really do want you all to read it, because you gotta see it from my perspective. But like I said, I want to make sure I was giving some commentary on each one of these kind of chapters, just to kind of let you know a little bit more about me that may not necessarily be in here, but it all plays, right into these lessons. Okay. I hope you all have a good day. Till next time.